Punchy here, and welcome back to another Halloween video. In this Halloween video, we're going to be unboxing the Spirit Halloween 2022 Toothy the Clown. This unboxing is very special to me on this channel because if you don't already know by now, Mr. Toothy is, our latest prop release that released, this in November, kind of like an after Halloween special, similar to Lord of Carnival and such. But this guy has a lot of history with him, which if you saw GM Haunts' history video on this guy, you might know that I actually play a part in this guy's kind of overall story. Basically, I was one of the first people to ever see this prop. I saw it back when he was supposed to release for the 2019 season, and then he got totally canceled, and then after that, we saw some things with him here and there, but he still remained pretty much unreleased until this year, which this year seems to be the year they were finally convinced to go ahead and finally release this guy. And one more thing I want to add is I did not purchase this prop. That's kind of why you haven't seen this prop on the channel when it first released, because usually when those things come out, like Little Nestor, Bloody Bag, or the Carnival, I bought them right away so that I could get them pretty soon. This guy, I did not buy him right away. I didn't even buy him at all. The funny story is that Spirit Halloween Corporate actually sent me this guy. I was totally surprised because, Savannah of the Psycho Circus already got him a few weeks ago before he released, and I didn't get one, so I kind of just thought I wasn't going to be getting one from them. But turns out they went ahead and sent me one. I thought the Jack the Reaper statue would be the only thing I'm unboxing from Corporate for the rest of the year, but turns out we have one more thing to unbox for them. So I'll talk about it more in the review section, but thank you a lot, Spirit Halloween, for this prop. I mean, seriously, thank you guys so much for this. This prop means a lot to me, and I'll talk about that more again in the review section. Here is the front of the box. It says Toothy the Clown, stock photo of him. And then on this side is that same stock photo in a wider view. And then on the top of the box has just the Spirit logo on it, no name on it or anything. We have the side pictures, the more up-close shots of him. And then we have the back with a little story and then some of the information like his adapter and what he's compatible with. So, yeah, and his price tag right here, it's just like an old price tag. It's online only. So and his anim number is 225. There's that. But here we go. This is really weird for me because, again, I've been waiting for this guy for so long, and to finally be unboxing him from Corporate is really crazy. So let's go ahead and just pull him out. You can see in there he is behind this cardboard cover. We remove that, and we take out this cardboard sheet that we kind of have to slide out. It's going to be a little hard with this angle, but here we go. This is the moment of truth. So, okay, off the bat we have the instructions, of course. We have his body frame, very similar to the original YG Swingers, but they just have updated that a bit. Pretty much looks about the same though, like in terms of build. The original YG Swingers would have the clothing attached to the body. You would just have to slip the body on, but this time they've made it two separate parts. So interesting. We have his collar right here. We have his adapter right here. Let me get that out real quick. I believe he's got screws too, like the other YG Swingers. He does. He's got those plastic tabs and the bolts and the screw, just like the original YG Swingers. And then of course the adapter right here. We have his body right here with the shoes attached to him already. Here's his hands too. I didn't even notice this. He's got a big speaker now. That's super awesome. I was kind of sad that Little Nestor used the old speaker. Very awesome. And last but certainly not least, is his head. Ooh. There he is. Let me take him out real quick. Okay, wow. different from the other swingers. Super cool though. I think it looks awesome. Got the same connections and such. I'll do an up-close shot real quick. Really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, that's him, I guess. There's Mr. Toothy. So now let's start the setup of the Spirit Halloween 2022 Toothy the Clown.
Hey, do I look snazzy or what? I must be the only guy you know that shaves with a chainsaw.
Alright, so here we're going to finally now do my little history recap of the Toothy the Clown animatronic. So if you guys didn't know, which I'm sure most of you might know by now because I know GM Haunts released a video a few weeks ago talking about the history of Mr. Toothy. If you have not watched that, but I'm sure most of you guys watching right now have already seen that, basically Mr. Toothy was supposed to come out in 2019, and that is when I kind of saw him initially, is when he was supposed to be released during then. And I was super, super excited for this prop because I knew it would be my favorite prop of the year. And I kind of had doubts it would come out, but I was still hoping it would still be released, and unfortunately it did not release that year, and I was pretty bummed out. And then in 2020, we had Johnny Punk, who was kind of like a clown on a swing. It was mostly just a kid with a clown mask. And he ended up being very bad. And then last year, we had Harriet Hustle, which was basically a clown girl on a swing. However, she was more on a trapeze, and she was a lot different than the normal swingers that we get from Spirit. So I really liked her a lot, but I still really wanted this guy to come out because I still feel like he is the definitive clown on a swing prop that I really wanted. Late last year, I joined the Roblox Spirit Halloween team, and I actually was talking to my friend Mr. Halloween Ashton, who we both agreed that we should bring Mr. Toothy into that game. At the time, we just called him Swingy, and that's what we called him for the Roblox game because he didn't really have a name back then, and we just wanted to call him our own thing. So we named him Swingy, and we released him earlier this year, and he basically looks just like this guy. Of course, he looks more like the prototype, and he had different audio and such, and it was really cool. We released him the same year this guy was released. It's just very crazy for sure. And from 2020 up until this guy was confirmed to be released, I was talking to corporate a lot and asking them, hey, can this guy, be released? I feel like he's a really good prop. I feel like he would be a really cool one to have in a collection for clown people, but also swinging prop people. I feel like most people would enjoy him. And I was always told that it wasn't going to happen, and that it was just an unreleased prop. So I was kind of bummed out by that, but I always held out hope that maybe someday he would come out, and he's finally here, and honestly, I am super happy with this. But the cherry on top of this whole release is the fact that Spirit Halloween sent me this guy for free. I did not pay for him at all. I did not order him. Spirit Halloween kind of just sent me him randomly, and I was very surprised because Savannah got his days before his release, and he already was released, a few weeks ago, and people have already had him. So, I thought I would just have to order him. But luckily, Spirit Halloween came around and actually sent me him. I'm pretty sure I know why, just because it's Toothy the Clown, the swinging clown I kept begging for years, and something I've been kind of behind the scenes working on with this history. So again, thank you so much, Spirit Halloween, for this. But now let's get into the review. So Toothy the Clown, we're going to start off with his detail. First, he's got these really nice clown shoes. These shoes are very similar to Henry Hustle's, except they have way more detail. They have some black streaks across the middle of it. It has white laces on it and a bunch of little lace details around the shoe. For his clothing, he's got the classical clown white and red color scheme, where one side is like mostly white with some red polka dots. On the other side is white and red stripes. He's got some black sleeves along his hands and legs. He's got black puff balls right there. He's got a red and white collar. He's got gloves that have been ripped. You can see his fingers and his hands. He's got the classical YJ swing, which is just a kind of just a sheet over the swing. And then he has the rope that comes around his arms and the swing. And now finally is his face. His face, it has black straight hair with a big forehead. He's kind of bald at the top. He's got some stitches around his face that are kind of a grayish color right now. He's got a gray face, mostly because the dirt detail kind of adds to the white. His eyes, I think, are yellowish green with the black surrounding around them. He's got a nose with a red streak across it. He's got bright red lips with disjointed teeth that are pretty big. And he's overall got a pretty big head shape. Maybe not as large as Pumpkin Esther, but still pretty big for him. That is really all he's got for his detail. I think overall it looks really good. And I'll talk more about that later. But for now, let's talk about his cons. I kind of want to get into the cons just to get this over with. I'm just going to say I don't really have much cons with this prop. It's very minor cons, but I guess I'll just say his audio isn't that great. Now his audio is in line with the other YJ big swingers like the Swinging Swamp Pack, Swinging Scarecrow, Pumpkin Esther, in the sense that it tells jokes. And it actually does fit him because he's a clown and clowns are known to tell dumb jokes. So it does work very fine with this guy, but his audio isn't the best, I would say. I mean, like, it just isn't that memorable. It isn't that great. The laugh is kind of weak in some areas. I think the best audio for him was the Roblox version we made, which had like kind of a mix of like creepy and funny phrases. I think that worked better with this guy. But again, a very minor con with me personally, because it still doesn't really affect the prop that much. It's just this guy looks kind of scary, and I feel like that audio would be better if it had more like creepy, scary phrases than just, you know, overall silly phrases. Very minor con though, I don't really care. Second con is the price tag. Now, I don't really have a say in the price tag because again, I didn't buy this guy. Spirit Halloween sent me him. But the overall con with his price is that it's a bit overpriced. I think this guy should really be $200 to $230 just because I know inflation has played a part and a lot of animatronic prices, and even shipping has also. But Little Nestor came back last year the same price he was in 2014 when he first released, not his clearance or discount price. He was $150 and he came back and he was also $150. This guy is $100 more than the remake Little Nestor, and I don't think it's really justified. Back in the day, swingers were typically overall like a $150, $140 price, and then the bigger ones were usually $200, so it really was only like a $50 difference. But now here it's a $100 difference, and I don't think it's justified with the prop overall. I think $230 is the most it can go. It's still pretty pricey, but that's the most I would say it could go. I still think $200 should be the definitive price for these things, since they aren't like that crazy of animation, and they are pretty big, but the rope kind of makes most other size. So I don't think $250 is worth this guy's price. It's not as bad as like Nozzles or Mr. Punchy, but again, it's still not that great. These cons don't really hurt me that much, especially the phrases, because the phrases, again, like, we have props with worse phrases like Possessed Pumpkin or Mr. Punchy have like worse audio than this guy. The last con I kind of have with this guy, I actually prefer that prototype look over this guy, because the original prototype was mostly the same as this guy. I mean, the original one had full gloves, this one has ripped gloves, and I actually prefer the ripped gloves. But what I prefer on the prototype had a longer mouth with a longer like kind of chin line, and his teeth weren't as disproportionate as it is now. I think that happened with the release model because they had to fix the mouth nick, because it would have been too big for that whole entire giant mouth. So they kind of had to shrink it, and with that it kind of clumped up a lot of the facial details, and it still looks pretty good. I think in person it actually looks a lot better. It's not as like distracting as it is in like some of the stock photos. Like this one right here looks kind of weird, but here in person actually looks kind of good. But still, the point still stands. The original prototype and even the concept art had a better looking mouth that I wish did stick on this one. I know like manufacturing wise, that would have been too hard, but it did look better overall. And I prefer this guy having white eyes versus these eyes. Now, these eyes are fine. I don't think they're bad at all. I still like him a lot with these eyes. But the prototype had white eyes, and I feel like it looks way more scarier just because he looks more like soulless, if that's a word. Like he looks more like he's soulless and just overall more creepy. This guy still looks pretty creepy, but not as creepy as the original look. Also, Swinging Swamp Hag and Pumpkin Esther had those eyes, so I can kind of see why they want to be more unique and more realistic with these props. But, you know, the only other clown we have with those white eyes is Bloody Bag of Jokes. And I think overall that would have been kind of cool for this guy versus these eyes, because these eyes aren't much different than the clowns that Seasonal Visions International makes, where it's just kind of like, it's alright with these black and like greenish yellowish eyes. It isn't bad on this guy, but again, I would prefer the original look over this. Really want, you could probably go ahead and paint these eyes. If not, you could cut these out and put those original YJ Bloodshot eyes that were used on Pumpkin Esther, Lone Esther, Zombie Barrel, Swinging Swamp Hag, Bloody Bag of Jokes, you know, the list goes on. That's really all I'm making for my point, is that I prefer those eyes. Yeah, regardless, this guy, I really mean this, means a lot to me. I mean, not only because of its history and how much of heart I play in that, but because this guy overall is just one prop that appeals to me so much. I mean, I love Strawman, but I think this guy definitely beats him for me in terms of my favorite prop of the year. And he is probably my favorite modern spirit prop we have, aside from the remake Little Nestor. This guy likely will stick that way for a while, just because I don't know if we're gonna get a prop like this guy again. This guy's just super awesome for me. I just love him so much. And I'm gonna be saying this now, and now keep in mind, this can definitely change, because in 2020, I said the Hauntress was my favorite prop of the year, but I kind of changed to Gatekeeper and Harvester Souls. I think this guy might be my second favorite prop ever. Now, I don't want to say that for sure because, again, like, there's really good props out there like Pumpkin Esther and Thrashing Clown, who are kind of tied for me for best 2013 props. So this guy has to beat both of those, but also beat the Gemmy horror characters like Hannibal, Freddy, Ghostface, the Michaels, Jason, Leatherface. Most of those are on my top 10 ever too. So this guy has to be all of those, plus all the old spirit props and some of the best modern props we've had. Like if you count this guy's modern still, Boogeyman is one of my all-time favorites too now. So it's a hard pill to swallow, but this guy might be that high for me. And I know objectively he's got a lot of cons, but I personally am satisfied with him. I know he's pretty simplistic too. He's not really that unique. I mean, we've had objectively some of the best props ever, like Mr. Dark, a prop that jumps up to 9 feet, or a prop like Grimm, who has all these servo motors. And, you know, objectively, those are probably some of the best props ever. But for me, sometimes I just like the laid back, kind of simplistic, but classic looking props. And this guy definitely has that. So Toothy the Clown might be that high on my list of best props ever. I seriously love him a lot, and I really got very few cons with him that I have. I'm definitely his biggest fan ever. Just seriously, this guy's awesome. I love him a lot. I feel very satisfied owning this. Again, I want to thank Spirit Halloween for this, and would I recommend him? I think the good outweighs the bad, so I would definitely say this guy is worth a buy. He's really awesome, and I overall love him so much. So that is it for my review, history, unboxing, and demo of the Toothy the Clown animatronic from Spirit Halloween 2022. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And before I end this video, I quickly want to thank some of the people who helped me along this journey with Toothy the Clown, those being Mr. Halloween Ashton, Wilbur Halloween, GM Hans, who I don't like, and Aiden K, who I don't like either. So I want to thank those people real quickly because they've kind of helped me through this journey. There's probably more people I can thank too along the way, but those are my main people so far. Again, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next Halloween video.